Enzo, the perfect day for you. 2 goals quickly in the first half, goals straight after the second half, and a clean sheet in a London derby.
It's been a good game in terms of results, and as you said, yeah, also the clean sheet is important. We are in the right direction. We have many things to improve, but I think today we are happy because I think we deserve to win the game.
2 goals in 18 minutes from Nicolas Jackson. It's the fastest brace for a Chelsea player in a London derby since Drogba, his hero, in 2005. That's a massive confidence boost. Let's look at those goals, particularly his finishing and the way he found space in the second goal. Is that his best performance that you've seen from him?
Probably in terms of goals, yeah, for sure. But overall, I said also before the game, Nicolas for us is a very important player. The way is behave on the ball in terms of goal and assist, but also off the ball is working very hard. And we are happy with him. We are happy with Christian Kunku for both of them. But yeah, it's good for Nicolas.
The Michael Jackson dance moves in his celebration, how would you rate those?
I didn't know. We just, the player, they're happy, we are happy, and this is important this moment.
West Ham did seem to get back into the game just before half-time. Somerville, were you worried you were going to concede a penalty from that with the holding?
I didn't see the moment, the action. But I think if the referee conceded no penalty, it was no penalty.
A fantastic team performance. Cole Palmer now directly involved in 11 goals in 11 away games in the Premier League this calendar year. Only Kevin De Bruyne has more. We know he's up for a Ballon d'Or, but keeps on producing.
Absolutely. We are delighted with Cole. We are fantastic. He's doing fantastic with us, also this season, also last season. And in terms of number, but once again, for him and for Nicolas, the way they work off the ball has been very good today.
A big statement win, one you were really looking for because you want to see more, but how do you assess where you are now, 10 points, 5 games?
No, I just focus on the things that we need to improve, and I think there are many things that we need to improve, and this is the main target in this moment.
Where do you want to see improvements?
We can attack better, we can defend better, but we start just 2 months ago. I think we are in the right direction, and this is a long journey.
Nicolas, back in the last season, I saw you score twice against West Ham United. You seem to like them as opponents.
I think I like everybody. Just trying to play for the team every game. This is the most important. I don't care about opponent. So it's just scored 2, so I'm happy, and we won. That's the most important.
Your first goal today, you had a lot of time to think about what you were going to do. What did you plan to do, and did you do it exactly as you hoped to?
No, I saw everybody was waiting for me to pass the ball to Cole or to Noni, and then I decided to go for goal, and then I scored. So I was very happy, and it was early, so we controlled the game early.
Cheeky finish through his legs.
Yeah. I think always the goalkeepers, they go one side, so it was a good finish. So I'm very happy, and I'm working hard to do that every time. So thank God that it went for me, so I'm very glad.
An equally confident finish for your second goal outside of the right boot. Does that kind of finish come easier when you've already put one in the back of the net?
Yeah, I think it's just plenty of talk, and like I said, I've been injured in my ankle for 2 months. So now I'm back with no preseason, so I'm very happy then coming back fresh and getting more confident in my legs and my ankle. So it was a good finish, and I'm very happy, and I hope to go for more.
And an assist today for Cole.
Yeah, I know he was going to score because, it's cold, it's very cold. So very happy for him and happy for the team.
When you're on 2 goals, every striker wants a hat-trick. A bit disappointed when your number's on the board? Honestly?
I wanted to score 3, but, we won, so that's the most important for me and the team. So it's fine. More will come by God's grace, so that's the most important today.
10 points from 5 games. Personally, 4 goals already this season. Do you set yourselves any target, Nicolas? You scored plenty last season, 14, I think, Premier League. Any targets this season now?
No, I don't have target. I just score more. I think last year I should have scored more, but now I'm just trying to work hard and trying to do more than last year and try to be top 4 as everybody wants for the team and try to play Champions League. But now the game is finished, so we just concentrate on the next one's coming.
Well, Cole Palmer on the score sheet, obviously, but 2 for Nicolas Jackson, the much maligned Nicolas Jackson. Now, his numbers haven't been too bad, but really we've focused, when we've covered it, on the chances that he's missed, even though, Righty, you've seen the potential in him from early on.
Yeah. But when you watch him, excuse me, when you watch him and you see the capabilities, that's what you judge them. You judge them on, obviously, goal scoring, but when you watch what else they do,
the tools he's got.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When you see that, then you feel to yourself, well, when you see him finishing, you think, well, he could have done that. He could have done this better. Yeah. And this is why I remember a while back at Kells, I said, if he could, depending on his personality and what he's capable of, if he's working at that, he will be a problem for people because he's got pace, he's got link-up play. So good finish from him the other day. I thought West Ham were very poor, by the way, but a good finish from that. If he gets the right coaching around him, he could become prolific.
What's the biggest asset he needs? Is that the mindset?
It's the mindset when you get in there. It's something that, you know, you mentioned, like I always make, at the moment, I mentioned Harry Kane, Robbie Fowler. When them people get in the box or in and around the box, it's all about the basics right. You know what I mean? He's got flair, obviously he's got flair, but them guys have got a certain amount of flair when they're finishing. But it's the basics are very, very high up in what they're doing. They go back to the basics and they finish clinically. If he gets that in his game where if I'm here, I've got to make sure I hit it over there because the goalie's doing it, he's got to go into that mindset of striking so as then he'll become so clinical and with his pace and with his link-up plays, set up a goal for him as well. You know, Chelsea made, you know, yes, I can understand a 9-year contract now.
I remember when I was there and we talked about him, and I remember saying at the time that he reminded me a lot of Nicolas Anelka in his first season. He was alongside, I think Henry was still at the club, and people were looking unfavourably at Anelka, but you could see he had the tools, like you say, and he turned out to be fantastic for the club. Jackson, the best thing that happened for him, I think, this summer was that they didn't sign Osimhen. Yes. Because had they done that, they would have invested everything into him and he would have been sidelined. But now he's got that burden on his shoulders.
They've really money left today.
Well, that's true.
That is a good shout. It's a very good point.
But he does, and he's now got the confidence of the club.
Exactly what happens. When you ain't got someone over your shoulder like that, Kells, you feel like, OK, the next chance I miss doesn't mean I'm gonna be left out of the team. Yeah. And then just like when you are scoring, the next chance you score, it gives you more confidence.
Nkunku comes on at Bournemouth, scores the winner. You know, you think during the week he would have knocked on the manager's door and said, look, I've turned the game. Jadon Sancho started. He come on and done brilliant against Bournemouth. He starts against West Ham. No Nkunku. I wondered if he just knocked on his door and said, do I deserve a start? I've come on, I've scored the winner for you. But no, he's stuck with Jackson. Gives a massive confidence boost to Jackson. And then when he looks around at Nkunku, I'm not saying he did knock on his door, but he probably said, that's why. That's why. This boy now is growing in stature. You know, he has got the attributes, like the boy said. You can't continue liking players to Didier Drogba. You know, he was a one-off at that club. Yeah, but someone needs to come and take the mantle. I think the confidence he's been given by this manager, the chances what he's being created by Cole Palmer and the like, I think he will score a lot of goals. You know, we never give him the credit what he deserves. You have a look at his goal-scoring record. I mean, what's he got now in the Premier League? I mean, he's scoring goals. He's up there in the charts. He's not going to catch Haaland. No one's going to catch Haaland unless something drastic happens to him. But he's up there with everyone else in the Premier League. 18
and he's
in the
doing
Premier
really
League
in terms of goals from open play as well. If you take penalties out of it, he's even more competitive in terms of the number of goals that he's scored. I think it's only Haaland from open play who's got more than him since May last season, I think it is. But it's been really good for him. Like 40 appearances, 18 goals. That's not too bad. We'll pretty much won every other game, and 7 assists in there. And maybe what's most encouraging is that it feels like it's improving. It's not. He's not been standing still.
Yeah, but this is the thing, Kels. This is why it's very silly and naive to condemn a striker and say, he's this and he's that. When you see him come to this league and miss a few chances and he's a little bit erratic, and you have to give a striker time because, not like defenders, not like midfielders, a striker can turn it like on its head. Could turn it on its head. You know, defenders, if they make mistakes, they're scrutinised for mistakes they may make, so they get nervous. You know, midfielders, you know what I mean? They get the same criticism. If they're not looking right, if they're not passing quick, if they don't turn and pass quick enough, they get that stick and say, they're not used to the Premier League. A striker, you can be up there, you could be playing poorly, but finishing well, and people will give you the opportunity to keep going.
What I like about those goals is that they weren't tap-ins from close range. You had time to home in on goal, and you had to think about it, make the right decision, and both times he made the right decision. The second goal with the outside the right foot, even better than the first, and you could see the confidence kind of coursing through.
Yeah.
As poor as West Ham were, and I'm sure we'll talk about them another day in terms of the issues that they have, does it feel like Chelsea might just be clicking a little bit?
Maybe. I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, it's a nice problem to have, John Maresca, but you've got so many players. I think it's such an unbalanced squad. Sorry, they've got a lot of players, a lot of number 10s, a lot of wide players. A lot of them won't kick the ball. But he makes big decisions. He's got a clear identity of how he wants to play.
He's taken his group away, hasn't he? He's done what lots of people were suggesting.
He has, and it's the only thing he can do. And he probably doesn't want to do that, but he can't have anyone with negative mindset coming into his group. He has to stick to the 25 what he's picked and chosen for the Premier League, and they're repaying him. I think it really helps when you get a solid back four. I think Gusto's out injured. He's a big miss. Disasi went in last week. He left him out again this week. But I think he's got good types in there now. And the more they play together, the more continuity you're going to get and the chances they create. And if Jackson starts scoring on a regular basis, as we've seen, his confidence is high at the moment, they could push up that table. I'm not sure what their target and their aspirations are. But Chelsea, you would think, over recent history, want to win the Premier League. I think they're away from doing that, but I think certainly top four should be in their target.
I thought the only thing that would undermine them would be that defence, because it had been poor for a long time. But I think that's only their second clean sheet in 18 Premier League games away from home. Yeah. And that's a good sign. Obviously, they were fortunate to beat Bournemouth 9 days ago now, because Bournemouth had the penalty, they missed it. Had they scored, it would have been a very different game. But they had a clean sheet there, the clean sheet against West Ham, and they're starting to click.
This looks relatively, and I know Brighton are, not the easiest team to come up against. They've got the Liverpool game in there, and Forest can cause teams problems on their day. It just doesn't look like the worst run of fixtures for Chelsea over the next few weeks, though, does it?
It doesn't, no. And what you see with Chelsea is that they're starting to click in a way that if you turn up like West Ham, they go to West Ham and that's what West Ham are with Palmer, with Jackson in that kind of form, with Sancho, with this new lease of life, with everything with Caicedo, the way they're playing. Yes, they have to get some more familiarity in that back. They will dismantle teams. It depends on what we see when they play against the City and Arsenal and how they set up. We'll find out more about Maresca. But in respect of everybody else, Chelsea now are a team that's coming. You can see it, and you can see it in the manager as well.
It might well be coming for Chelsea, and not a minute too soon as far as the Chelsea fans are concerned. But Enzo Maresca might well be the man who's managed to knit that huge squad together at Chelsea, certainly the ones that he's working with anyway.
Well, we look at Nicolas Jackson's stats in a second. Maresca's the first manager since Pep Guardiola in September 2016 to win his first 3 away games in the league, which is very impressive, as was Nicolas Jackson's finishing. And actually, Nicolas Jackson's stats. It's weird because I think if you said to people, Chelsea fans or not, what do you think about Nicolas Jackson? People would go, oh, he's wasteful, isn't he? He misses loads of chances. Yeah. He's not necessarily justified his transfer fee, but actually he's beginning to.
He's getting there, and he's making me eat my words, which is frustrating. There's so much about his game that just doesn't quite fit a Chelsea number 9 role. However, he's pulling up the numbers. He's starting to find his feet. This is his second season in the Premier League, second season playing for Chelsea, and he's already scored at this point in his career more goals than Didier Drogba at this point in his Chelsea career.
He was arguably the greatest centre-forward Chelsea have ever had.
Exactly.
That's a good finish, isn't it?
And what he's doing really well is he's blocking out the noise, the outside noise.
Apart from that.
Michael Jackson thriller, that's what that is. I love it. But he's blocking out the outside noise. So he's just continuing to do the simple things really, really well.
That is a really confident finish, Jermaine, isn't it? Yeah. Look at this. Outside the right boot.
Similar to what we saw from Haaland not too long ago, And again, it's a difficult finish for some, and I'm glad that he's starting to find his feet. He's got a couple of goals today. He got a cheeky assist yesterday. Sorry, got a cheeky assist as well.
Right at the start of the second half.
The team trust him. They're believing in him, and he's starting to believe in himself as well, which is what you need. That's what you need as a centre forward. You need that.
I think where he struggled in the past over the last 18 months is, to be fair to Nicolas Jackson, and his stats are like...
Look at that, as we said, better than Drogba.
But I think your analysis, when you look at Nicolas Jackson, last season especially, he did miss a lot of big chances. And he missed gaping chances where some of them were quite comical. But his numbers are starting to stack up. And where you've got to give him a little bit of sympathy is when he's playing for Chelsea,
How he forms a relationship with any of the wingers, I've got no idea, because one week he's playing with Nkunku, the next week he's playing with Cole Palmer. He's got Neto, so he's got different relationships where, as a centre forward, you want to know what characteristics you've got. So if it's Neto playing on the left-hand side every single week, you're probably thinking, right, he's going to get to the byline, he's going to put a cross in. If you're playing with Nkunku or Cole Palmer, they're not going to slip you in first time. They're going to probably link the play into your feet. If you're constantly playing with different wide players and different midfield players, João Felix, for example, another one, and loads of them, for him to be pulling up those numbers with quite uncertainty in terms of the bodies and the personnel that he's playing with is quite impressive, and he's young.
He is. Your old team, West Ham, were rubbish.
Look away. Look away.
They were rubbish.
Awful.
But at 2-0 down, this is a penalty kick, Chris. Surely, today, tomorrow, every day of the week, this is a penalty kick. Fofana pulls back some of it.
Yeah, it is. And I think there's a grab outside the penalty area. He keeps hold of him into the penalty area. It's a penalty. Obviously, the referee on field, Sam Barrett, he didn't give a penalty. I'm trying to second-guess why he didn't. Did he feel as though it was an over-exaggeration? Doesn't matter. It's a penalty. It was checked by the VAR.
Well, that's the worrying bit, is it? Maybe Sam Barrett couldn't quite see, wasn't quite sure, but this is why we have VAR.
Yeah,
surely.
I mean, the VAR looked at it, obviously stayed with the referee's call, but I think if he'd have recommended a review and sent him to the screen, we certainly would have had a different outcome.
I'm never really a fan when we say anywhere else on the pitch, that's a foul. Yeah. But this is literally anywhere else on the pitch, you are going to give a foul.
It
has to be a penalty. It has to be. There's no other conclusion. It's not like there's a tiny little grab and it was outside the box and you've let go. He grabbed onto him outside the box and still held on to Somerville as he went into the box. Yeah. The VAR team have got to help the referee, because that was a critical point in the game.
They're 2 down.
West Ham were 2 down.
Let's say it's 2-1. At home, it changes the dynamic.
Crowd get right behind the team. Pressure's back on Chelsea.
Yeah. Instead, they win their 3 away games, and West Ham have lost their 3 home games. Julian Lopetegui under pressure already.
Bad day for West Ham, and we'll talk about them in a second, because the headlines, undoubtedly after that London derby, belonged to Nicolas Jackson after his 2 goals.
They did. I want him to smile a bit more, because he scored 2 goals and he's developing into a really good centre forward, and his 2 goals today are brilliant. They're really good finishes.
Was it the composure? Because that's something we've often spoken about when it comes to Nicolas Jackson.
Yeah.
Can he be calm when it really matters?
Yeah, he can. This is a good finish. I do not know for the life of me where West Ham defenders are. They were all trying to man-mark people, and they were leaving him spare. I don't understand how you can leave a player like that. This is the goal I like, Manish. This is fantastic. It's good build-up play. Caicedo plays a really good ball. The finish and the run is fantastic, but look at this finish. Outside of the boot, and he beats Areola near post. It's a fantastic goal.
I mean, they played really well. I think today for West Ham is a combination of 2 things. A 12:30 kickoff. What is that celebration?
I think he was
it's thriller. Look.
he's obviously thrilled.
Look.
And also he's called Jackson.
Ledge.
I should be happy. He should be happy.
It's a bit better than that.
No, mine's more rhythm, I think. In a bit. Sure, do you like it? Look.
Yeah, could you bring your glove with you next time?
Yeah, I love the gloves, you know.
He got 17 goals in 44 last season.
Yeah.
He's already got 4 in 5. So could he be set for a prolific campaign?
Yeah, it could be, because they're going to create a lot of chances. The players they brought in, the likes of Neto, Sancho, obviously you've got Cole Palmer who can create stuff. They've got a lot of competition for places there, and he signed a new contract, hasn't he? So that will give him confidence moving forward as well.
He definitely has got the talent, and we've known that for a long, long, long time. It's all about, can you bring it into the games? One thing is, they won't get it as easy as they had it today in any other game this season. I don't think so. West Ham were, I don't know if we can use the word awful, but they were. Yeah. They were not there, you know. They were not there.
No, you can use that word.
I use the word. They were awful.
There are worse words you could have used, to be honest.
This game was over in 18 minutes.
Yeah.
And I mean, you said for the life of, where are the West Ham defenders? Yeah. They were not there, but he was exploiting that, and that was the brilliance of that. And on the 3rd goal as well, he's on a hat-trick, you know? He's on a hat-trick. I think he creates this goal for Palmer. I think it's him again, Jackson. You know, he wins the ball there, gets it here. Now, you're on a hat-trick and you've got the pace that he's got. You can take one big touch and just run it down to the... No, he's waiting for Palmer to arrive. And what a finish that is, by the way. What a finish.
Dare I say a cold finish, Peter?
It was a cold finish. It was a cold finish.
I know.
You know,
you might have heard
you are on a run today. The punch you've come up with, it's impressive.
Hey, look, talking of combination play, I'm not just talking about the two in the studio, but Palmer and Jackson have served up with 10 goals between them, 2 clear of Bailey and Watkins. But for West Ham, just one quick word. Where was the intensity in a London derby like that?
Yeah, you should have intensity. Lopetegui, we were just saying, me and Pete there, he looked a bit lost, to be fair. So he needs to improve because they got booed off and they need to turn up in derbies like this.
I know it probably is an excuse that people will understand that well, but playing at 12:30, sometimes if you have 2-3 players not turning up at 12:30 and start with the wrong foot, then it's really, really difficult, and especially against a team like Chelsea, who away from home has been fantastic this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nicolas Jackson, the man of the match, and a well-deserved man of the match award there. He certainly deserved it. And those two have become quite the force, actually, since they've been playing in a Chelsea shirt together. You can see the most Premier League goal contributions from 2023 to 24 to the present day. And they are top of the table with 10. They're becoming quite the partnership, Mo.
Yeah, they are. I mean, and it's understandable, Jackson playing as the main focal point now, and of course we all know what Cole Palmer's all about. I mean, he's just been incredible last season. He was absolutely brilliant. So that is a lethal combination in there for Chelsea, and they'll want to keep that continuity. That's a team that, yes, they've got a big squad. Yes, they've got people to come in and change the team if they're struggling. But I think in the main, the manager now has got a nucleus of the players he wants to start. And, of course, he's not going to change much if they keep winning as emphatically as they did today. That was a good performance today. So Chelsea might be onto something. We all have said so many times in recent seasons that it's just all, they get a little bit of consistency and then it all gets ripped up again. But all of a sudden, it's been a really impressive start to the season. They've been beaten by Manchester City. That's no problem there. I mean, most teams do. Apart from that, they've been pretty much perfect.
They have, and with all the noise and the questions around their number 9 in that position, something we spoke about at the start, Nicolas Jackson, he delivered, and very early on in the game, in 4 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he spoke there and he said that, if you score early, then you get a chance to control the game, and that's exactly what happened. But, I mean, in terms of West Ham, they went from, in Chelsea's sort of like final third and then, conceding a free kick, and I just felt like they just switched off. You look at Wan-Bissaka's position there, sometimes can he be more tucked in, It's sort of like he's in the wrong position. And Nicolas Jackson, to be fair to him, he knows that there's that space there for him to run into. But even when you get it here, he probably can't believe the space that he gets, because even when he gets you think, okay, then he's not really going to get into the box, because the West Ham defenders should come across, they should cover and get across the pitch quicker. It doesn't happen, but fair play to him. It was a good finish when he got there.
Yeah, I thought Alvarez was pretty slow here. I thought he could keep Jackson going out wide, but he just didn't have the pace to. The other thing I never mentioned at half-time, actually, I don't think the goalkeeper's covered himself in any glory then. You shouldn't be scoring from there.
No.
I mean, I've bared down on goalkeepers loads of times like that. I know what I don't want to confront, and it's certainly not that. If a goalkeeper's coming and opening his legs and giving you an out, well, thanks very much, I'll take it. I'll just place it through your legs. Really, you shouldn't be scoring from there. But this is a lovely goal as well. Great finish from Jackson. We see Cucurella in the middle there, creating the overload, so there's always one spare man. It ends up being Caicedo. And again, I don't know what Alvarez is doing here. Look at him. Why does he gamble and go past Jackson? He's got no pace. Look at him. Why? I just don't get it. You give yourself a couple of yards. You certainly don't jump in front of him.
I think this is why teams do that, don't they? This is why people ask the questions about fullbacks going into midfield. I think if you do that, you do it right, and you create that overload, and you create like a box in the middle of the pitch for moments like that. But the finish that Mo said there was fantastic. But that's what happens when you're confident. You go through on goal. We just knew that he was going to score.
Yeah, and he is full of confidence, isn't he? Let's have a look at 3-0, Cole Palmer. We said that he is one name that is guaranteed to start, and this is why. He delivers. Yeah, again, we made the point at half-time. Wan-Bissaka in a forward, in an advanced position, and again, Chelsea can attack. Look, all that space in the left-hand side. Cole Palmer does really well. He notices early that he's got to make an overlapping run.
Again, defensively, why are they trying to nick the ball all the time? They keep conceding themselves. They just keep giving themselves away. All of a sudden, they're one man down because they're too aggressive in trying to win the ball. Just let Jackson touch it. Let him go back. Keep your shape. But no, they commit themselves. But this is a lovely finish. I was saying to Jermaine when it went in, this is a finish that's probably not used enough. And that angle, going high and near post, is impossible for the goalkeeper. It's
Amazing
a really good finish.
You know what's interesting? Even looking at the goals, and you see how much space Nicolas Jackson had, not just him, the forward players to run into. I can't remember seeing Wan-Bissaka playing like that ever.
No.
I can't remember the amount of times I've seen him actually running back towards his own goal. You know, he's never probably played like that before. You know, I think with him, you speak about 1v1 defending, he probably has to stay in his position and make it a little bit difficult. But it was weird how high he played, and in certain moments as well, he's actually been inverted, playing inside.
If you're West Ham, if you're the manager, if you're the recruitment officer, if you're whoever you are at West Ham, and you're wanting a fullback to play in this, the last person you go and buy is Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, I think he's probably the best right back in terms of defensively in the country, in the Premier League. But if you're going to ask somebody to get up wide and high and come inside and start playing, central as well, then I don't know why you would get Wan-Bissaka. That's not his game. His game is plugging the gaps, is not letting anything past. He's a brilliant defender. He's not brilliant going forward. Yet they're utilising him in totally the wrong way. It's a very strange buy if they're going to utilise him like that.
Yeah.
OK, let's now analyse Chelsea in transition. What did you notice about this, Michael?
Well, one, that West Ham were really poor in transition, but two, Chelsea pounced with numbers and with pace. I mean, there was so many times, Jermaine referred to it before, there was 4v2, 5v2 sometimes. They could have scored so many more, particularly in the second half. And I get it. West Ham are trying to get back into the game. They're going to commit a few bodies forward. But look at that. That's 3v1, that one.
I think if you are going to do... sometimes a lot of teams, they're actually more vulnerable when they've got the ball. So that means as soon as that ball changes hands, as soon as the ball turns over, you have to sense danger. And I think Chelsea, it was like every time the ball broke down, the transition was so quick and fast and efficient that they got into the areas. That's where their goals come from. But in terms of West Ham, I think if you are going to play that way, sometimes the balance behind the ball's got to be important, because as soon as you lose possession, then you're so vulnerable to the counter-attack like you've seen today.
You'll see that happen quite a lot as well. When teams get an early goal, and you mentioned control of the game, Jermaine, Chelsea, of course, scored 2 quite early goals. All of a sudden, they're in control. Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like, come on then, come and take your risks. We've got so much pace on the counter-attack. And then you just play into their hands. And sometimes it's almost inevitable, because what can West Ham do? They can't just sit back themselves and pass it around them. They've got to sort of commit. They've got to get back into the game, and you just play into. And that's the beauty of scoring a couple of goals early on. You just control. You're in total control of the way the game plays then.
From West Ham's perspective, we saw that the fans were obviously disappointed. A few of them did leave quite early as well. What is it that needs to be done now? How can we see a better performance from West Ham? What does Lopetegui need to work on, really?
I think if you look at the team, we spoke before about obviously Wan-Bissaka, seemed like he was in the wrong areas. I think just a little bit of structure, to be honest. I think, it's so important in that, because you can talk about tactics and systems and stuff like that, but within that, you need structure. Structure when you got the ball and structure when you lose it. Like, obviously, managers at this level, they know that. But it's important to understand who you're playing against, because I think if you are playing against a Chelsea team where they're quick on the counter-attack and they've got quick, dynamic players, then for me, it doesn't make sense for me to sort of like vacate those sort of areas for Nicolas Jackson to run into. But like I said, listen, it's early days, early this season. I'm sure they'll be okay. But, on reflection, when you watch this game today, I'm sure there'll be areas that they need to improve on.
And West Ham have got some really good attacking players, haven't they, that actually can probably make something from nothing. I think last season and previous seasons under David Moyes, it was quite boring and quite structured, and you would love a full-back to go and join just to help out the attack a little bit. Actually now, I look at West Ham and think, do you know what? If you leave the attacking players and one or two of the midfield, Paqueta and that attack, between them, I think they can cause trouble. I don't think they need to risk anything at the back by committing the likes of Wan-Bissaka into areas he's no good at anyway. So I think it's quite a strange balance at the moment. But I think they've got the players there. He's just got to shuffle his pack in the right way, tactically, nail it a little bit better. But in terms of players, I think they've got plenty of them and plenty of quality to do okay.
They have got, and they've got a lot of good players in that wing position, haven't they? They've got good wingers, as have Chelsea. Let's just wrap this up talking about Chelsea for a moment, because it has been a really big win and quite a statement today. They will take a lot of confidence from this.
Yeah, I think so. I think winning like that and, you know, winning the game early, getting it done early, and then you look at, you know, full control. I think the way they played from the beginning with the intensity, with and without the ball, the goals that they scored, you know, the subs that they brought on. Yeah, I mean, when you score 2 goals as the number 9, you come off after an hour, you know, to bring someone else on, then you know the strength in depth. But I think it is a statement. But you know, there was a lot of noise around this manager coming in, you know, so. Yeah, it looks good, and for me, sky's the limit for Chelsea, to be honest.
And actually, many would have said that this performance might have come a little bit later on in the season, with the fact that, you know, there's been so much change. Are you surprised that we've seen it so early on?
Yeah, Maresca will be absolutely delighted. I mean, a clean sheet to get, you know, your centre forward that you're dependent on scoring a couple of goals, getting so many players onto the pitch as well, so you've kept so many people happy, and we all know that could be a problem at Chelsea.
Definitely.
I mean, it couldn't really have gone any better. As I say, you can tick so many boxes for Maresca today, and for that type of performance to come so soon, you know, that's the benchmark now.